The Washington Post points out it's hard to top a state dinner with the Queen of England. But President Trump's sons tried to keep the revelry going during an impromptu pub crawl in Doonbeg, Ireland, where they bought rounds of Guinness for locals and reveled in the adoration of a village where the Trump family owns property. Anyway, Trump's children tagging along on their father's official trip already cost taxpayer money due to their Secret Service protection, but the Post reports that it's less clear how many other expenses would be incurred by the taxpayers, by that family. A spokesperson for Donald Trump Jr. told the Washington Post that he, quote, paid for the trip out of pocket. That's one member did. However, the visit to Trump's golf course in Ireland and the fact that his sons lead the Trump Organization raises an ethical question about the separation between Trump's official duties and the family's business concerns. I'm joined right now by Jose Aristimuño, former DNC Deputy Press Secretary, and Sher Michael Singleton, Republican political consultant. Okay, Republican political consultant. I have to say this every time there's one of these peeing matches, I might call them, between Democrat and Republican over ethics. I would say, would they say the same thing about their own president? If it were Jimmy Carter, if it was Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, and he'd gone over there and brought Chelsea with her. I mean, I don't know if there's any comparison to this royal Trump family.
No, I don't know. There's a difference. Right. I think some Republicans who are supportive of the president, they did bring up George W. Bush's wife, who had one of the daughters come along with her, I think, to 3 foreign visits. She was a college student at the time.
But still living at home.
President Obama's 2 girls were minors at the time. The issue here with President Trump's kids, Chris, is that there are some blurred lines here because, as you just stated, they are running a private business. We need to know if they really did pay for this themselves or if we, the taxpayers, are paying for this. And if they are, they need to reimburse the American taxpayers.
Jose, should we find out whether Donald Trump, when he's buying rounds of Guinness, no problem with that, was he writing that off for his business? I mean, that's the question I want to know. Is this guy keeping the tab and go, I can write this off for the golf course?
Knowing the president, Chris, I think he probably did. And this is the issue.
But we'll never know.
We'll never know. Even whether the trip was paid by his kids or not, there's extra security. There's extra hotels. I mean, there's extra money that was used by the American people for this trip to happen. Let me just bring you back to history. You know, I think it's kind of funny. I think Trump, sometimes he thinks he's royal.
Thank you.
Because you think, you know, if you go back in history, he wrote in The Art of the Deal that his mother was a big fan of Queen Elizabeth, right? Mm-hmm. So I think he forgets. He thinks the Trump family is the royal family. Let's go to England. Let's bring everybody. It doesn't work that way.
I thought from the beginning it was the Romanovs, not the Windsors. You know, they ended badly, of course. But the Romanovs, everything comes to it's an acquisition, the election for him. The Electoral College victory gave him the White House. He owns it. It's his. Bring the kids in, give them jobs, put them in charge of Middle East, put them in charge of everything, trade policy, peace policy. It is a royal family distribution of power.
Well, look, Chris,
and that's what's weird about this presidency, and he loves it.
No, he does. But my issue with the president is that, again, we don't know where the lines are drawn. I personally would not mind if the kids went, if there was transparency that, hey, they paid for the travel. We know how much it costs. We know what they contributed out of their own pockets. The issue is we do not. And that's what creates issue for the president. And knowing this, the administration should have been prepared for the criticisms that they were going to get.
Do you think he was selling, Jose, was he selling his golf course by stopping over there twice in 5 days?
Well, we know
in Ireland?
He spent over $40 million and the whole thing is bankrupt. He hasn't made a dime. So I think he's trying to go back there to see if he can recuperate some of the money that he lost. He's a businessman. This is what he does for a living. Look, if I dare to say that he's preparing his children to maybe run for president or do more business, in the UK. It's silly. During the D-Day ceremony, some of his kids were sitting in the 2nd row or 3rd row when some
ahead of some cabinet members.
Yeah, that's insane.
Can you imagine that? Who would ever imagine that? You had Rick Perry, the Secretary of Energy, actually, sitting on the 3rd row where Trump Jr. and Eric Trump were ahead of him.
Okay, here's my question. Bottom line next week.
Sure, Chris.
I have a theory that Trump was working for the non-political vote. There are a lot of American people that are watching Dancing with the Stars. Nothing wrong with that. They're not political buffs like a lot of us. They see him over there with the royal family. Mm-hmm. They see him acting like a leader. They saw him with the Emperor of Japan's family. And they get the sense, head of state. It's bigger than politics. These pictures, if you go to any supermarket, I go to Safeway, let me tell you, every checkout is royal. Mm-hmm. It's Kate, it's somebody, it's Meghan. People in America, the average person loves this stuff.
And they pick those things up. And this is where I give credit to the administration, politically speaking. The president has a re-election coming up. Things right now in this country are very tumultuous for him. He recognizes that. You think about those average persons, the blue-collar person, the middle-class person.
Just a regular person that goes to a store.
They'll look at at that and they'll say, well, hey, the president didn't have a bad time when he was in Britain. He represented the country fairly well.
He's the head of
this
state.
is the person that we want reelected,
Okay, how does it,
even if we don't like it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.